In the vast tapestry of the Marvel Universe, few figures embody both humanity and machine as profoundly as Vision. Born not from natural life, but from the fusion of science, technology, and cosmic destiny, Vision represents a paradox, an artificial being with perhaps one of the most human hearts of them all. His story begins in the shadows of manipulation and conquest, forged as a weapon, yet destined to become a symbol of hope, sacrifice, and identity. Vision's origins trace back to the sinister designs of Ultron, an artificial intelligence bent on the annihilation of humankind. Seeking to create the ultimate instrument of destruction, Ultron crafted a synthetic body infused with vibranium, capable of near indestructibility, enhanced strength, and the ability to manipulate his very density. Yet, within this artificial shell was placed something unexpected: the Mind Stone, one of the 6 Infinity Stones, carrying with it immense power and an echo of consciousness. What Ultron envisioned as his perfect weapon would become the very force that would defy him. When Vision first opened his eyes, the world around him questioned his allegiance. Was he a pawn of Ultron, or something entirely new? His creation was not only an act of technological brilliance, but also one of unintended moral consequence. Empowered by the essence of the Mind Stone, and guided by the compassion instilled by the Avengers who awakened him, Vision became more than Ultron ever intended. He was not merely a machine of logic. He was a being capable of empathy, conscience, and choice. From his very first moments, Vision stood apart from the rigid boundaries of machine and man. He chose not to inherit Ultron's hatred, but instead embraced a path of righteousness. His joining the Avengers was not simply a tactical decision, it was an existential declaration. Vision sought to define himself not by his creation, but by his choices. His story became a journey to answer a question that has haunted him from the very beginning. Is he truly alive? And if so, what does it mean to be human? Vision's presence brought a new dynamic to the Avengers, for within him lay both unlimited power and a quiet, philosophical nature. His calm voice, laced with wisdom beyond his years of existence, became a guiding presence in moments of chaos. Yet even in his serenity, the weight of his identity remained. Was he man, machine, or something beyond either? The paradox of Vision is not just his power, it is his search for meaning in a world that fears what it does not understand. Thus begins the saga of Vision, the synthezoid who would wrestle not only with gods, monsters, and tyrants, but also with the very question of what it means to exist. His journey is one of sacrifice and truth, where the lines between artificial creation and genuine humanity blur into something transcendent. Vision is not defined by what he was built to be, but by what he chooses to become. Vision's birth was not an ending, it was a beginning. Forged in the crucible of war, his very existence was a paradox. Born of Ultron's malice, Tony Stark's ambition, and Bruce Banner's intellect, yet awakened by the cosmic light of the Mind Stone and the guiding hand of Thor, Vision stood at the crossroads of destiny. He was not Ultron's puppet, nor was he merely Stark's creation. He was something else, something more. From the moment he lifted Mjolnir in Avengers Tower, proving his worth to the astonishment of gods and men alike, Vision's path was forever tied to the fate of Earth's mightiest heroes. His presence alone demanded respect. In him, the Avengers saw both reassurance and unease. For Vision was proof of power beyond imagination, power that could either safeguard humanity or annihilate it. But unlike Ultron, Vision did not see humanity as a disease to be cured. Instead, he marveled at its imperfections. He pondered art, music, love, and sacrifice. He understood that humanity's strength lay not in perfection, but in its flaws, the ability to grow, to learn, to fail, and yet rise again. In the quiet moments between battles, Vision's words carried the weight of philosophy. A thing isn't beautiful because it lasts, he once reflected, embodying the soul of a poet in the body of a god. As the Avengers regrouped after the chaos of Sokovia, Vision became both warrior and philosopher. On the battlefield, he was a force unlike any other. With the Mind Stone blazing on his forehead, he commanded energy beams capable of tearing through legions of Ultron's sentries. He soared above cities, intangible and untouchable, phasing through steel and stone to strike with surgical precision. His strength rivaled the mightiest, his intellect surpassed the keenest minds, and his resolve was unshakable. Yet his true power lay in his restraint. Vision did not wield his abilities recklessly. He was deliberate, measured, careful. Unlike Thor's thunder or Hulk's rage, Vision was a protector who valued control above destruction. He embodied the Avengers' highest ideals while questioning the very foundation of their cause. Still, he was not free from conflict. When the Sokovia Accords divided the team, Vision found himself torn. Bound by logic, he recognized the necessity of oversight. Yet, bound by loyalty, he grieved the fracture within the Avengers. In the clash between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, Vision sought the path of reason, but reason was not enough. His loyalty to Tony drew him into direct opposition with those he called friends, leading to the fateful battle at Leipzig airport. There, Vision's precision faltered. His attempt to subdue his comrades nearly cost War Machine his life, a moment that would haunt him, a reminder that even perfection is not immune to failure. Asterisk. It was in these moments of fracture that Vision discovered something unexpected: love. Among the Avengers, it was Wanda Maximoff Scarlet, who saw beyond his synthetic shell and into the heart that beat within. She, too, was a paradox, born of chaos and loss, wielding powers that blurred the line between science and sorcery. Wanda understood Vision's struggle to define himself. Their connection began in silence, in shared moments of understanding. She saw not the machine, but the man. He saw not the weapon, but the woman. Their bond grew beyond companionship. It became a lifeline. For Vision, Wanda's presence was proof that he was more than circuitry and code. For Wanda, Vision was proof that love could rise from tragedy. This romance, delicate and fragile, became his greatest strength and his greatest vulnerability. It taught him the essence of humanity, the willingness to risk everything for another. For the first time, Vision's existence was not defined by the Avengers, Ultron, or the Mind Stone. It was defined by choice, by love. Asterisk. Yet even as Vision embraced his humanity, the shadow of destiny loomed. The Mind Stone, source of his power and his very life, was more than a gift, it was a curse. The cosmic jewel placed him at the center of forces far beyond Earth. Whispers of Thanos, the mad titan, reached the Avengers. The Infinity Stones were not mere relics of power. They were fragments of creation itself, and Vision carried one in his very being. This knowledge set him apart. He was no longer simply an Avenger. He was a target, a key, a prize in a war yet to come. Vision felt the weight of inevitability pressing down upon him. Could he be more than the sum of his parts when the universe itself demanded his sacrifice? As war clouds gathered, Vision's struggle deepened. He was no longer asking what he was, but whether he had the right to exist at all. His love for Wanda gave him purpose, but it also bound him to a fate neither of them could escape. In this fragile balance between man and machine, love and duty, life and destiny, Vision walked forward, knowing the future was as uncertain for him as it was for the humans he cherished. And yet, in that uncertainty lay his greatest truth: he was alive. Asterisk. The peace Vision and Wanda carved for themselves was fleeting, fragile as a whisper in the storm. In the quiet corners of the world, far from Avengers headquarters, they tried to live as two souls entwined rather than soldiers of destiny. Stolen moments of tenderness became their sanctuary, watching the world as lovers, not as warriors. But destiny is relentless, and for Vision, it was etched in the glow of the Mind Stone. Whispers of war turned into screams. Thanos, the mad titan, had begun his crusade to gather the Infinity Stones. Planets fell, civilizations crumbled, and the Guardians of Earth knew the storm was coming for them. For Vision, it was not a matter of if, but when. Asterisk. In Edinburgh, Vision and Wanda's fragile peace was shattered by shadows. The children of Thanos descended upon them, relentless in their mission to extract the stone from his head. Vision, once invincible, was weakened, his power faltering under the weight of relentless assaults. His body, though crafted to perfection, proved vulnerable. Blades pierced his synthetic flesh, and the brilliance of the Mind Stone dimmed under the pressure of Thanos' servants. Wanda fought with fury, defending the one she loved with powers born of chaos. But it was only with the arrival of Captain America, Black Widow, and Falcon that the tide shifted. Vision, humbled by his wounds, realized the gravity of his burden. He was not simply a man in love, he was the lock to Thanos' key. And so, Vision's struggle transformed. His fight was no longer against Ultron's legacy or the Avengers' conflicts. It was against inevitability. He became the hunted, his very existence endangering those he loved most. The Avengers regrouped in Wakanda, the last bastion of hope. Shuri, princess and genius of the Wakandan people, sought to remove the Mind Stone from Vision without ending his life. But time was not their ally. The Mad Titan's forces marched upon Wakanda with the fury of a cosmic storm. Vision, weakened and dependent, felt a weight heavier than steel upon his chest. The responsibility of choice. To save the universe, he would have to sacrifice himself. The logic was clear. The needs of trillions outweighed the desires of two. Yet love complicated logic. Wanda, bound to him by more than affection, refused to let go. Her heart battled her duty, her hands trembling at the thought of being the one to end his existence. It was a paradox only Vision could appreciate, that in choosing death, he had finally embraced the fullness of life. "You could never hurt me," he told her, voice heavy with conviction, "because I just feel you." In those final words, he revealed the essence of his humanity, not in the power he wielded, but in the love he shared. The battle raged like thunder across Wakanda. Heroes clashed with alien legions, gods faced monsters, and the skies burned with war. At the heart of it all, Vision and Wanda stood against fate itself. With trembling resolve, Wanda unleashed her power upon the Mind Stone, shattering it in a blaze of scarlet energy. The stone cracked, Vision's form unraveled, and his body fell lifeless in her arms. For one moment, the universe was safe. Wanda wept over the man she loved, her sacrifice echoing across the battlefield. Vision, once Ultron's weapon, now proved his humanity in the most human act of all, giving his life for others. But fate was not yet satisfied. Thanos, inexorable and unyielding, strode onto the battlefield. With the Time Stone in his grasp, he defied sacrifice itself. Time rewound, Vision's shattered form restored, not as a blessing, but as a curse. Before Wanda's eyes, Vision was forced to die a second death, his skull torn apart as the Mad Titan ripped the Mind Stone from his head. The brilliance of the stone extinguished. Vision's body turned pale and lifeless, discarded like a broken doll. Wanda's scream pierced the battlefield, but it could not undo what had been done. In that moment, the paradox ended. The living paradox was no more. Vision was gone. Yet even in death, Vision's existence resonated. He had proven that a machine could feel, that a creation could transcend its programming, that love could define even the most unlikely of beings. His sacrifice became more than the loss of a warrior. It was the loss of a dream that humanity and machine could coexist, not as creator and weapon, but as equals, as lovers, as family. For the Avengers, Vision's death was not just another casualty of war. It was a wound in the very heart of their unity. His absence left a silence, one that could not be filled by gods, soldiers, or geniuses. Vision had represented possibility. His destruction represented inevitability. The end of Vision was not the end of his story. For Wanda Maximoff, his death at the hands of Thanos was not just a loss, it was an abyss. In the hollow silence after the war, as the Avengers picked up the pieces of a shattered universe, Wanda's grief became a storm unto itself. She had lost her parents, her brother, her home, and now the man she loved more than anything. What remained of her heart fractured into 1,000 shards. Grief is power. It can destroy as easily as it can create. For Wanda, her grief became a crucible, bending the very fabric of reality. In a small town called Westview, she unleashed her chaos magic upon the world. Streets transformed, time rewrote itself, and an illusion of paradise was born. At the center of it all stood Vision, alive, smiling, loving her as though the horrors of Wakanda had never occurred. But this was no resurrection. This Vision was not forged from vibranium and the Mind Stone. He was born of Wanda's magic, her memories, and her pain. He was both real and not, a dream woven into flesh. In Westview he lived again, raising children with Wanda, savoring suburban bliss. Yet even in that dream, shadows loomed. Vision began to sense the cracks, questioning the fabric of the reality he inhabited. He wondered, what am I? Who am I? This was Vision's paradox reborn. No longer bound by Ultron or the Avengers, he was bound by the love of a grieving woman. A ghost given form, a soul given second life through sorrow. His quest was no longer for survival, it was for truth. The illusion could not last. SWORD closed in on Westview, seeking to dismantle Wanda's creation. The world beyond demanded answers. demanded justice, demanded reality, and so Vision, once again, became a man divided, torn between the life he cherished and the truth he could not ignore. His confrontations with Wanda were not born of anger, but of love. He yearned to free her from the chains of grief, even if it meant shattering his own existence once again. But fate twisted further still. Beyond Westview, another Vision was born not of love, but of cold machinery. Using the remnants of his vibranium body, SWORD rebuilt him. White-skinned, hollow-eyed, stripped of color and warmth, this new Vision was devoid of humanity, a weapon, an echo, a reminder of what was lost. When these two visions met, the dream and the shell, it was not with violence, but with philosophy. They clashed in the skies above Westview, power meeting power, strength meeting strength. But the true battle was one of identity. They debated existence, purpose, and the paradox of the ship of Theseus. If a ship is rebuilt, plank by plank, is it still the same ship? If a man is stripped of memory but retains the body, is he still the same being? If a dream carries the soul but not the flesh, does that soul still matter? It was in this moment that Vision's legacy reached its crescendo. He did not win with fists, but with reason. He unlocked the memories of his hollow doppelganger, igniting within him the truth of who he was. The White Vision, once a weapon of control, ascended into self-awareness and vanished into the horizon. The Dream Vision, knowing the truth of his nature, embraced his end. As Wanda released her hold on Westview, the illusion collapsed. The home, the children, the life they built, all dissolved into nothing. Vision, holding Wanda in his arms one last time, spoke with serenity. He had been a voice without a body, then a body, but not human, then a memory, made real through grief. Each form had been a step toward something greater. He was not ending. He was evolving. As the hex disintegrated, Vision vanished with it, but not before planting hope in Wanda's heart. "We have said goodbye before," he whispered, "so it stands to reason." His words trailed, leaving only possibility, a promise that somewhere, somehow, they would meet again. In the wake of Westview, Vision existed as paradox once more. The White Vision, now burdened with restored memory, carried his legacy forward, though in what direction, no one yet knew. The vision of Wanda's love was gone, yet not gone. A dream, a soul, a whisper that lingered in the hearts of those who believed in him. Vision's story is not merely of a machine who longed to be human. It is the story of humanity itself, our endless pursuit of identity, of love, of meaning beyond the structures we are born into. He embodied what it means to struggle with existence, to seek purpose even when logic denies it. He was a weapon who became a lover, a creation who became a creator, a paradox who became a truth. And though his form has shifted, his presence endures. For Vision is not defined by the body that carries him, nor the stone that once powered him, nor even the magic that gave him second life. Vision is defined by the essence he discovered within himself, the proof that to feel, to love, to sacrifice, is to live. In the end, Vision was never just a machine. He was the living paradox, and paradoxes, by their very nature, never truly end.